I spent 3 weeks organizing every detail of my husband's birthday. 32 candles, his favorite bourbon, the restaurant where we'd first met. Everything was meant to take him back to us, to the years we'd built side by side, the nights we laughed over cheap takeout, the mornings we stayed awake just to keep talking. I wanted it flawless. I wanted him to feel loved. What I didn't know was that I was setting the stage for a night that would rewrite everything. Michael had been distant for months, but I convinced myself it was work. New clients, tight deadlines, the usual grind. That's what good wives do, right? They rationalize what hurts. So I smiled through it, planned every moment, and waited for the spark to come back to his eyes. He texted that afternoon, running late. Don't wait up too long. But I did. The table was set, candles glowing against the kitchen tiles, soft music humming from the speaker he gifted me last Christmas. His dinner sat untouched, bourbon sweating in its glass. When the clock read 10:47 p.m., I finally blew out the candles myself and whispered, "Happy birthday, Mike." He came home at midnight, carrying a scent that wasn't mine. I knew it instantly, something floral, overly sweet. I stood there in the red dress he once said made me look like everything he'd ever wanted, waiting for him to notice. He didn't. He brushed past, loosened his tie, and muttered, "Didn't think you'd still be up." "I wanted to surprise you," I said, my voice steady though my chest burned. He glanced at the table, the food cold, the bourbon untouched. "You shouldn't have gone through all that trouble." That line broke something deep inside me. Not because of what he said, but because of how easily it came. The man who once searched 2 days for the perfect anniversary gift couldn't even pretend to care. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just watched him disappear into the shower, the sound of water drowning out the truth. In my hand was a small black box tied with gold ribbon, his real gift. Not the watch he'd wanted, not the cologne he liked. Something far more permanent. He came out of the bathroom, towel slung around his waist, phone in hand. He didn't notice me behind him. He was smiling, texting. I saw the reflection in the mirror. And then I saw her name. Hannah. I'd suspected for weeks. Every late night, every vague reply, every half-hearted kiss. But suspicion and proof, those are two very different kinds of pain. Proof carries weight. It shakes you. I set the box on the counter. "Happy birthday," I said quietly. He turned, startled. "What's this?" "Open it." His fingers hesitated, like he already knew the truth waiting inside. When he finally untied the ribbon, the color drained from his face. A printed photo. Him and her, 2 nights ago. Her hand on his chest, his lips pressed against her hair. He froze. His eyes darted between the photo and me. "Where did you?" "I followed the perfume," I said. Silence. Just the low hum of the bathroom fan. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. "It's not what it looks like." I almost laughed. "Michael, you've rehearsed that line in my head so many times, I almost believed it before you said it out loud." He reached for me, but I stepped back. My hands were steady now. There's a strange calm that comes with heartbreak, the kind that feels like glass. Cold, fragile, and sharp enough to cut. "I spent weeks trying to make you feel special," I whispered. Turns out I was throwing a party for a ghost. He looked down at the photo, eyes glossy, not from remorse, but from fear. "What are you going to do?" I smiled, small, tired. "Give you a gift you'll never forget." He frowned, confused. Before he could speak again, I opened the drawer and pulled out an envelope, his name written neatly across the front. "Consider it my version of closure," I said, placing it in his hand. His fingers trembled as he unfolded it. Inside were printed screenshots. Messages between him and Hannah. Hotel receipts. Even a printed copy of the booking confirmation, sent from our shared email, the one he thought I never looked at. His face went still, the kind of frozen calm that happens when lies finally run out of places to hide. "I was going to wait," I said quietly, "until after your birthday. But you made it too easy tonight." He set the envelope down like it was burning his fingers. "You went through my emails?" I almost smiled. "You went through my marriage." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The air between us felt thick, charged, like the seconds before a storm breaks. His jaw tightened, his breath quick and uneven. "So what now?" he asked, voice cracking just slightly.
Now.
I exhaled slowly. "Now you get to live with it." I reached into my bag and handed him another envelope, larger, heavier. "That's for my lawyer. The divorce papers are ready. You just need to sign." His eyes widened. "You're leaving me?" "Just like that." "Michael," I said softly, "you left me months ago. You just forgot to mention it." He looked like he wanted to argue, but there was nothing left to defend. His mouth opened, then closed again, and finally, he sank into a chair, dragging both hands through his hair. The silence that followed was long, broken only by the faint sound of rain beginning outside. I looked at him one last time, the man I once believed would be my forever. The man who used to bring me coffee in bed, hum off-key while cooking, look at me like I was the only thing that made sense. Now he couldn't even hold my gaze. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "That's the worst part. I wish I did. But all I feel is nothing." He looked up at me then, panic flickering in his eyes. Not because he'd lost me, but because he realized what nothing truly meant. It meant I was done, completely, irrevocably done. I walked to the door, grabbed my coat, and picked up my suitcase from behind the couch. His eyes followed it like he was seeing it for the first time, though it had been there all along. "Where are you going?" "To my sister's. For now." I paused at the doorway. "You'll find the storage unit keys in the kitchen drawer. Your things will be moved there by next week." He stood abruptly, desperate. "Wait, can we just talk about this? Please? We can fix it." I turned to face him one last time, studying the man who once knew every corner of my heart. "You can't fix something you kept breaking on purpose." He flinched, and for the first time in months, I didn't. I stepped out into the rain. It was cold, sharp, cutting through the thin fabric of my dress. But I didn't care. Each drop felt like it was washing something off me. Grief, guilt, the illusion of love. I walked to my car, started the engine, and didn't look back. The city lights blurred through the rain as I drove. The radio played an old song we once called ours, and I didn't even reach to turn it off. It didn't hurt anymore. I parked near the bridge, overlooking the river, the same spot where we took pictures on our first anniversary. The engine hummed softly while I opened my phone. A new message blinked on the screen. "He'll regret it one day. You're stronger than you think." It was from Hannah's ex-husband. I'd messaged him weeks ago when I first started piecing the puzzle together. He was the one who'd sent the photo that confirmed everything. I hadn't replied back then. But now, I typed 3 simple words. "You were right." Then I deleted the entire thread. Some truths didn't deserve to live in memory. When I finally reached my apartment, not ours, I poured a glass of the same bourbon I'd bought for his birthday. It tasted different now. Not better. Not worse. Just honest. I sat by the window, letting the hum of the city fill the silence around me. I thought about the plans I'd made, the dinner, the laughter, the hope, and then I thought about what really unfolded. The truth had been waiting for me behind every late night, every half-hearted smile. I didn't pity him anymore. Maybe he'd learned something from the wreckage he built. Maybe not. Either way, that lesson wasn't mine to carry. I raised my glass toward the dark skyline and whispered, "Happy birthday, Michael." And, for the first time in years, I meant what came next. Here's to new beginnings.